So what you don't know is the setup here, and I'll go over it quickly. Zero tangents. I built a 2.5 foot by 7.5 foot tabletop, this white thing right here. And I built that to cover from the one wall to the other wall. There's only like a couple inches over there that it doesn't get to the next wall, but 7.5 feet, it was exactly three original train modules, big, 2.5 feet by 7.5 feet. So I used this a lot back when I was doing my train / original space layouts, because it's exactly the dimensions of 3 base plates by 9 base plates. and that worked out well. Before I put shelving here, another shelving here, so I can't build up because there's shelves in the way. And I used to have a folding table over there, but I realized that I was just cluttered with stuff, so I just replaced it with Billy bookcases and more storage for Lego. And I use this old bed sheet, black, that I got from our friend Janie. That is basically a backdrop of my layout when I get the infrastructure to put a bed sheet on it, the black, so you don't see the concrete cinder blocks and stuff behind the layout. Is actually black, spacey. That future state. But this I should really, because I noticed in my friend Chris's videos, he has that nice little printed tabletop thing that I remember vaguely back in the Lugnet days that somebody was advertising that they were selling it and something like that. But I just haven't done it yet because this works fine for me. And I use this sheet because I don't want the pieces rolling off, and this is cloth and the things don't roll around. I tell you all this just to give you a heads up. And so what happens is I have a tripod that the phone is connected or set up on. So the tripod is here. So when I'm doing my videos, I can say hi. And so the tripod is basically right against the wall over there. And you can see all the way down the table over here to all the miscellaneous stuff I have at that end of the table. And I can talk to you. So this is why I'm doing this. I should come up with something a little different, because it's a camera tripod. It's actually I won't say semi-professional. I don't think it's the Black's one. Velbon tripod, and so it takes up a good bit of real estate. I mean, it's all collapsed and everything. It can go into full tripod mode, but I should just put something on the shelf there, but I just don't have anything small enough. I could probably build something out of Lego. Haven't done it yet. So there's more stuff that I need to do. But right now, this is how I do my videos. And I could, at some point, when I get this room a little more cleaned up, show you the rest of the Lego room. And so one quick note before I get into this thing, and I'm going to be doing a time lapse, that I have 2 big bins of Quattro bricks that we've just acquired over the years. When Josh was born, I started finding Quattro at all the local secondhand clothing stores for kids, Once Upon a Child, Value Village, and whatever. So when Josh was born, we started going to these places to get clothes for him, instead of buying new off the rack and paying $60 for like a little jumper that he's going to grow out of in 6 months. And now I scoped out the Lego, and I did find actually lots. So I got one of my old 1960s train ferries, but they also, every once in a while, I come across a big bin of Quattro. And I bought it knowing that Josh was going to be at an age, a year and a half, 2 years, that he'd be playing with it. And he actually, surprisingly enough, played with Quattro from the age of 2 until last week. Of course, last week was a little bit of a thing because we were babysitting our friend's kid while she was on shift. And so we hauled out the Quattro. Her daughter was like 3 or 4, and she had a great time with the Quattro, and Josh and me and whatever. So, but the Quattro is taking up 2 Rubbermaid totes that are in storage the rest of the time. Josh has long since given it up by himself, being all of 13. So I put it on the Facebook marketplaces, and it sat there for months with nobody. I put $100 for both totes. And what happened was that somebody finally got to me today saying, will you take 60? And I'm going, I didn't want to sell it in the first place. But I do want it out of the house because, again, I talked about this stuff yesterday. I'm trying to offshore to free up space in the house. The house can't get any bigger. The house is a finite, don't have a backyard to build into, don't have a shed, don't have a garage, I have a very finite space. And so the two totes of Quattro in my mind really do have to go. And I finally got comfortable with that. And that's why I put it on for $100, and now they're saying $60. So I'm going to ask my friends today and tomorrow if they want to buy it off of me for something more than $60, but less than $100. And if not, then I'm going to sell it to this person who wants it for $60, and then it's gone. I again, very, very fortunate that we spent that time looking for clothes and stuff for Josh at the Once Upon a Child and the Value Villages and the other places, that they had Quattro a few times. And so we got, like, I think 6 or 7 of the big sets of Quattro, and then some of the little ones, the medium set. I don't know how many different Quattro sets there were, but it is the brick that's twice as big as, or 4 times as big as Duplo. And remember, I got rid of my 4 bins of Duplo years ago, which, again, not a regret, until Jeff started building with Duplo. Curses Jeff. But anyway, but still, it's not like I got enough that I don't regret actually selling that. It was 4 totes out of the house. Now I need to get 2 more out of the house. But that's where I am right now. So with much further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably, people don't talk about the behind the scenes stuff. I do. So I wanted to set this up, talk about that, and then talk about this. So, okay, let's talk about this really, really quick before I stop the video and do something else. So my black 2x bins, when I first started, all my black 2x, be 2x2, 2x3, 2x4, 2x6, 2x8, 2x10, 2x12, 2x16, all fit into one bin, long time ago. And then I don't think I was in here yet. I think when I first started, even with these bins, I was across 2 bins. Right now, my black 2x bins are sorted into 2x2, 2x3 in one bin, 2x4 by itself in a bin, 2x6 by itself in a bin, and there was 2x8 plus, and that should be like labeled right here. So 2x8 plus right there. So now this 2x8 plus does not hold, one bin does not hold all my 2x8, 10, 12, and 16s. So I did that speed sort, or the sort the other day, my yellow 2x bins into one bin into 2. So now I'm going to take my 2x8, and this is, black is the most sorted and the most bins I have of any color over there. Because it seems to be the basis of almost all models that everybody builds. So I'm going to do some sorting now, and therefore I'm going to do a time lapse. I'm going to stitch it together because the behind the scenes, and then I'm going to wrap up afterwards. So now there's going to be a time lapse, and then there's going to be a wrap up. So here we go. And we're back. Found one 2x6 in there. So I was originally going to just do 2x8s in one bin, and then 2x10, 12, and 16 in the other bin. But what I ended up doing is putting 2x8s and 2x10s in this bin, and then 2x12s and 2x16s in this bin. It's just going to make my life easier when I'm trying to build something. I mentioned this before. This is one of my favorite pieces ever. And again, there's a few things in my life that were game changers in the realm of whatever I'm doing. And when I was a kid, of course, this piece did not exist. But many of these pieces didn't exist, but this piece specifically did not exist. Even the 2x10 did not exist. I remember being a kid, there was 2x8s. Not too many, but there was 2x8s, and that was the biggest piece there was. Now there was 4x8, 4x10, 4x12s, and the 6x whatever, up to 6x16, and even the 6x24s, which is the flatbed of these. This thing fell down. I didn't notice that. Uno momento, por favor. I remember the first time I got one of these plates was in this truck. But this was awesome. I thought, holy crap, look how big this. No, these things are very breakable, and I've had lots of used lots where this piece is actually broken. But I have mine, which I did not break, actually, surprisingly. So the 6x got to be pretty big, which is fine. So, but the 6x16s, the little blue plane and blah, 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 and train platforms and everything. 6x16s were ubiquitous back in the day, 6x14s. So, but the 2x8s was as big as it got. And I think, and I don't know this for sure, and I can get online and look at Piron, which is the place to go. Forget the other places. Piron. I don't know if this 2x16 came out before the 2. No, it couldn't have come out before the 2x10 because the 2x10 was used in classic space. So was the 2x16. I think this one came in the 6971, the little walkout to the little shuttle launcher. Wasn't in the first year of classic space. I think it came out in like 1982, 83, maybe 84. But it was there for me to, if I can find it. Again, I should have had this ready, but it just hit me now. I wanted to talk about this. Again, I'm not sure if it's in here. I don't think it's in this one. The Lego Bible. For me. Not there. I might not find it quick enough. Oh, there it is. There it is. So many years ago in the 80s, I had a Commodore 64, but that's neither here nor there. But I basically, this was going to be for the second Lego Wars movie, which is bigger than the first Dark Doomobile. Again, not necessarily the best naming at the time, but whatever. So I planned out every level of the ship, and then of course I brought it in my Commodore 64. So this is and studs equals studs. So this was the first one from the first movie, which is pretty big. And then this is the second one. So this is what I did back then. This is what I did with my time. And I don't know if I did, I must have done everything. Let's see, this is a bit of a, there we go. That's what I was looking for. The bottom to hold all the wing plates together. And so 2x16s were available back then. I was going to use black. I have lots now. And I don't know if I was going to use like today. I might have some light gray, but probably not this many that I need. And then of course all these pen hash marks are basically me counting how many pieces I need. And I have one sheet on here somewhere. So the original drawing, sorry, let's go take this back a notch. The original drawing was done on graph paper. So, and then I had to, in this fan fold computer paper, I wrote down all the pieces hand drawn, how many I needed of each to do the Dark Doomobile 2. Just wow, this is going. I'm in my teens when I'm doing this. By the way, hinge plates, hinge bricks, blah blah blah. Just I haven't looked at this thing in decades, but I'm not making this video, and I just ordered the 2x16s. I remember the 2x16s is the one of those plates that just sticks in my mind, and designing this thing virtually in my head before the internet was part of that. And then of course I'm counting and blah 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 and yeah. So this whole thing, and then I get down to how many pieces I need. How many pieces I have, which was not even close to sufficient. I might be able to do it now. I have no idea. I actually keep on meaning to actually try to build this guy. And I even made the fig. Look, Commodore 64 graphics. Look, it's dark, dude. I'm sorry. I was a kid. There was nothing about this that was indicative of anything else besides the guys in a black suit. That's it. Because I only had one black space guy back then, and That's the way it is. So maybe someday I might actually... No, I tried to actually bring this into MLCAD, by the way. About 2002, 2001. I tried to do this, and I think I got the wings done, and I just gave up on it. So I'm never going to build it. But looking at my collection now, I might have a very good chance of actually building this. We will see. But I'm sure I forgot 90% of how I designed it, and I have no idea if because like even the Scotch tape that I used to tape all these pieces together, like on my where is it? I just had it here and I just pushed it back in. My graph paper. So the Scotch tape has degraded to the point where these pages are no longer stuck together, right? So this is 1/2 of the top. But the 2x16s honestly stick out in my mind. When I see them, I remember this. Now again, I haven't opened up this folder in forever. The last time I opened this folder actually was to make it an MLCAD, and I just gave up on it, and I think it was the last time I opened this. So it's been almost 2 decades since I've opened this folder. And it goes in this book. This book I've opened, because look, layout. This is one of our layouts previous. This is before BrickFet. We did not do this at BrickFet. This is 2010. I recognize it. I don't, does it have a date in this thing? 2010 train show. This is the Toy Train and L show. Probably the Christmas show. And what I always do is just really quick on this one. Is I print off the full layout, and then I print off just a base plate layout so I can do the base plates, because back then we had to put out the individual base plates, which takes time. And then that's the same one. And then the monorail loops all separate, and then the train track loop all separate, blah, blah, blah. This was an idea I had. This is, again, going back to the Lego Wars saga, because we're going to, like, my buddy Andrew and I were going to expand this into a book instead of making movies. But we had named everybody. So, for example, Lego Man, played by the abominable Jake Thomas in the original movie, our hero, he flew around in the Space Dart, which is one of my favorite sets because it was Jake's. And then Dwayne Snappet, Earth Defense Liaison, because we had Earth Defense now. Number 1, because I'm not ripping that off of Star Trek, honest. Second in command at the moon base, and I already had the monorail. And Joe Snappet, son of Dwayne Snappet, blah, blah, blah. So they're all in my head. So, and then the miscellaneous vehicles that were all over the space base. And then, so this is me cutting up those old brochures back in the day. And this is the Earth Command Center on the planet, and it's going to have the space shuttle, Earth Command Center, space shuttle. So I was going to be on Earth, because I was going to make a picture book at the time with all these characters, from Earth to space to the moon, blah, blah, blah. And then we get to the Space Police, Andrew O'Bricken, Police Walter Pistra, John Stacks, Liz Builder, and Jeff Builder. Don't need to be mentioned. And then blah, blah. And then I think, oh yeah, here we go. And here we go into the M-Tron, because they're going to be part of this too. Elisa Brickbauer. And then Allison Blocker and Rick Blocker. Blah, blah, blah. Named after my friends. Back in the day. So I had all this stuff mapped out in my head, and blah, blah, blah. And Andrew and I were talking about, I think I had 6 drafts for 6 book saga, like little books, picture books. What else is in here? So this is, I printed this off Hissabrick, because they asked me to do an article on the SEQs, and so I did. And I talked about it because it's really cool find that we're talking about again now. Here we go. Here's my article in the SEQ. As a it's an online version, so I just printed it off as a PDF. So my SEQ story, Dave Cuddy, thank you. And then Joe Mino was awesome last year or 2 years ago, right before the lockdown, so it's got to be all now. He said, Dave, I want to feature your space layout. So, I mean, I've ordered a bunch of brick journals over the years. I never subscribed to it, but I would order them as I was interested. So I had a bunch of them, and I took them to Valley Village just so they can share the wealth with other people. But Joe asked me to write up an article, Dave Cowday's Moonbase Master. Now, again, Moonbase is a relative term here. I mentioned this before, my layout is not compatible with Moonbase, especially now, since it's on top of the actual boxes. Timber. I have ways of making it semi-compatible, but I don't want to take it off the boxes. I don't want to put on tabletops because, again, all these base plates on the Moonbase or my layout are taped to double face tape to plywood. So it would be thicker. I mean, if the mill standard might bring it up a little bit, whatever, but I also then can't do the lighting. If I'm doing a Moonbase, it's going to be at a Lego convention, and there's usually lights out at the Lego convention. So if this thing's not lit up, I put all that effort into it, and I've only seen it lit up like 3 times now. This is one of my most favorite pictures ever of me, right there. It is a picture that my friend Callum took at one of our robot competitions. I'm so young back then. And again, I mentioned that the inspirations for the my tower, right there. When I saw that on Mugnet by Peter Reed, he came out with wonderful stuff before and after. Like the guy's I got the Walker, one of the most fantastic classic like space mock builders ever. Period. Peter Reed. But Peter Reed's Onisis landing platform. The second I saw that, I fell in love with it. It's right here. And I sent him an email, by the way, when I had this article written. I said, Peter, can I use your picture in my article? And he was very nice. But I said, somebody should build that in minifig scale. So this is why the landing pads are high. Also, Empire Strikes Back. But this is right here. This whole thing right here was a huge inspiration for me to build a tower the way I did. And thank you, Peter. And I was mentioning this article shows some steps of building. This was the first part of the building that was ever built. It was in this layout that we did at Brick World Chicago. And so that's the only part I kept for everything. This is going off on a tangent, but it's all Lego related. And then I started building up, and I had, again, no idea how high it was going to be or how it was going to flare out. I had no idea about any of that. I just started building and see where it went. And so major iterations from here to where it is now, it kind of, if you look at the picture, you say, oh, it kind of looks the same, but there's massive differences between this guy, because I haven't even put yellow quarter domes in here yet. That wasn't even a thought yet. This is me greebling. I used those yellow octagon bricks that I keep on talking about on the outside just to fill in the area. And so, but then from here to here, all of a sudden, hey, yellow octagons appear, or yellow corner pieces show up. Woo! And I said, that was a huge step for me, because I did have a few, but I said, that looks better than that. So the process between here and here was about 4 months. It's like, it was like, you keep trying. Yay, more editing. My iPhone was full from those 2 long movies that I did last week, hour each. So deleted those, got space again. So I'm not going to go to an hour this time. So anyway, I was talking about this. This is the January 2021 copy of Brick Journal, and I basically went into written detail of how I evolved the tower. And this is as high as it was. This is sort of as high as it was originally, just above the base plates. And you can see the base plates aren't even round yet. And then I built this topper, and I thought this was fantastic. and then the landing pad showed up. So this is my first attempt, and this is my first attempt at lighting it up right down there. So I don't know. I rebuilt it. It's one of my favorite shots of the thing in my basement. And then the wooden boxes, which to me are one of the biggest steps I made, because it's non-Lego, but it was 100% for the layout. And then the shelves that held all my vehicles and ships, so they wouldn't break between home and the show, because that's what always happened. And then again, Callum, my good friend Callum, took the pictures at the last show right before lockdown. We were doing the Family Fun Fest in Toronto, and so he always takes like fantastic pictures. And again, there's that there. So this is my book, Oh Dreams, that I've done, that I love, and stuff that I've been planning on doing for over 30 years now. I just haven't gotten to it yet. What else is in here? Oh, Mark Riley's LDCCC. This is my book, because I printed it off because I need to know. And I think, yeah, programming, the NQC programming language for the RCX and NXT, but we won't talk about that part. So this is a book that I always keep on the shelf, and I pull it out when I think about it, and I thought about it now because we're talking about the 2x16s. Anyway, the one more thing, since we're talking about paperwork, I'm going to bring this out really quickly, because I've talked about this one before. That's my friend Jeffy. It's right there. December 22nd, 2002. So, let's see if I can find it. There's 8:14, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And you ready for a really ugly mug shot? This is right before I met Sandy, by the way. I hadn't met her yet. I met her at the very next show. Well, this is 2002. I might have done a few shows between this and Sandy. But here we go. Oh, let's hold this up. Yeah. And then there's my friend Jeffy and my friend Callum and my friend Derek. So the photographer came to my house. I was living in a little apartment. He came over to my apartment and he said, "Oh, get some of your mocks." Okay, the fire station, it's Spadina Fire Station. I think it's Spadina Fire Station in Toronto. But then I put the Red Baron on top because he wanted something else. And he said, "Lay down." He said, "Oh no, we need the background." That's because it was the old horror and the green carpet. So he says, "Just dump your bricks on the floor." I just sorted those. That's fine. Anything for a picture. And so, yeah, that was fine. I will say I am not a good public speaker. I do tend to drone on my YouTube videos, but then there's nobody telling me to shut up. I am not good at public speaking. I like talking like this because there's nobody here. I'm not getting nervous or anxious talking in front of people. So I'm better at this than I am in talking. Even when I'm interviewed, we do shows, and the person at BrickFet, they bring like newspapers and TVs and whatever, like reporters and stuff, and they talk to me. I was on, if you go way back in my YouTube stream, I was on a local cable show for one of the Toy Train and Doll shows, and Sandy says I did a really good job. I think I was nervous as anything, and I was like not good at all. But anyway, I'm not good in front of the camera when I know that it's going to be like a public audience. I'm good here because I know most of you, so it doesn't matter to me. Anyway, all that said, two major discussion points in one video where I talked about the sorting of the 2x bricks or plates. Just great, because now I can put that on the things that I've done, and this is my old, very old paperwork, and some of my publications. And again, I'm not. Joe Mino is a friend of mine. I met him way back at the original Brickfest, but we were talking online a lot together at Mugnet back in the day. And so when he called me up, or sent me an email, when he sent me an email asking if I wanted to do a talk for his Brick Journal, of course I'm going to jump at the chance, because I get to work with Joe fantastic guy. And I get to talk about my space layout. So it's a win-win. So I actually reread that article again like a few months back, and I'm going, it's not bad. I could have been better. Honestly, I'm my harshest critic right here. But again, I do let it go because whatever, it's done. People seen it. People liked it. But I think overall, people who are hardcore into moon base and classic face layouts and whatever, they know everything I said in there. There's nothing in there that's new information. I am not a guru. I'm not a moon base expert. I am my own layout expert because I built it. But I have seen other, just by being part of these groups in Facebook, I have seen some stupendously awesome, just blows my mind, the intricate details and volume of bricks and ability to make moonscapes and all that stuff of people who are making moon base now and layouts and doing shows throughout the world. And this is what I love, this part of the hobby. I love the whole hobby, but I love this part of the hobby, seeing what other people do. And so I am I'm a fan. I'm a fan of everybody else. I'm a fan of whatever they do. Sometimes you see a picture of just crater plates, landing pads, and like classic space sets out there. I'm there for it. I'm honestly there for it because I love seeing classic space sets. I got a whole bunch here. And then I see some people who take the classic space sets and make their own version of those sets, the Galaxy Explorer and this other ones, and they say, oh, this is like, and I say, oh, I can see where it was inspired from, blah blah. And then there's a whole bunch of people out there that make right off the wall, from scratch, not based on any existing Lego set, fantastic classic space sets, and it's just beautiful. As I mentioned, Peter Reed, my friend Chris, Mark, just lovely people. Dana, just absolutely adorable people who inspire me to keep on keeping on. So anyway, that's that. I'm going to wrap this up so it's not an hour long. Everybody out there, stay safe, take care. I will talk to you soon. Nothing else I have to say.